Good morning, I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for streaming with us. In today's update, Prince Phillip has been transferred to a different hospital in London that specializes in cardiovascular treatment. The 99-year-old was moved to St. Bartholomew's Hospital to undergo testing for a pre-existing heart condition as he continues treatment for an infection. Buckingham Palace said in a statement that Prince Phillip remains comfortable and is responding to treatment, but is expected to remain in hospital until at least the end of the week. And Johnson & Johnson has started shipping doses of its coronavirus vaccine after receiving the go-ahead from the FDA over the weekend. 3.9 million doses are expected to ship out today. 2.8 million will go to states and local jurisdictions, 800,000 to pharmacies, 70,000 to community centers, and 90,000 to federally qualified health centers. The company's CEO says people could start receiving those shots as soon as tomorrow. Johnson & Johnson is committing to ship 100 million doses by June. And as the rollout ramps up across the country, some Americans are still struggling to find an appointment to get their vaccine. ABC's Karen Travers takes a closer look.
For years, the hottest ticket in the U.S. was the Broadway smash hit Hamilton. That theater now closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But now there's a similar frenzy to score another hot ticket, a COVID-19 vaccine appointment.
Called the 211 number and was on hold for an hour and a half.
Everyone said, even if you called me at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll be there in my pajamas.
I tried 40 times. And I finally got an appointment.
There's no one-stop shop for Americans to sign up for a vaccine appointment. The Trump administration left it up to states to determine who gets vaccinated first and how people signed up for shots. So every state manages its own system. Within states, counties are running vaccine sites.
I worked hard to try to get this appointment.
In some places, you can get a jab at a pharmacy, a convention center, even a baseball stadium. So Americans are signing up at multiple sites, hedging their bets and hoping something works out.
We registered him in a couple of places, but we have not been lucky to get the vaccine until now.
The vaccine system is not tailored to those most in need: senior citizens, low-income Americans, people of color. Tiffany Nicole Johnson serves on her neighborhood council in Washington, D.C. She's spending hours helping her elderly neighbors navigate the city's vaccine sign-up.
They call the telephone number is not working, they don't know how to use the internet system. We're dealing with some individuals who might not even have a cell phone.
Johnson has stocked the free library on her lawn with flyers about how to get a vaccine.
This information is for our UMC, how they can schedule an appointment.
She's also going door to door and volunteering to do the legwork herself.
So I'm literally typing on 2 computers simultaneously to try and get them.
John Nesbitt set up a command station in his Florida home.
So every morning I would get into my office about 5:30 in the morning, turn on all my computers. I have 3 computers working, and just wait. And I said to a friend, it's like going into the ocean with a small hook with no bait, fishing. And it just became ridiculous.
After weeks of frustration and striking out, John, age 72 and asthmatic, enlisted reinforcements, getting his son in California and his daughter in Washington, D.C. online with him.
So we had 5 computers now looking for vaccines for my wife and myself.
Nesbitt says now that he's figured out how to navigate the process and has one of his doses, he's helping others.
One guy I know doesn't even have a computer. He has a flip phone, so how's he ever going to do anything?
Dennis Ryan of Chicago tells us he's also using a buddy system.
I had a couple of friends who said, well, call this place, call that place. And I did, and I didn't have any success. And then when I told somebody I got one, they said, well, what do you do?
Dennis also had help from his daughter Deirdre, a teacher in Chicago who spent hours trying to set up appointments for her parents.
First to sign up, and when I put my zip code in on the 24th, they said that I wasn't eligible because I had a city zip code and they were only taking the suburban ones.
There's a Reddit thread somewhere where there was a link and I tried the Reddit thread and that one didn't work. And then I got another text message from a friend about Loyola hospitals having some available, and she was able to get one.
Many younger Americans are putting their tech skills to good use, trying to set up appointments for parents, grandparents, and friends struggling to navigate this patchwork system.
I've got my cousin text thread of trying to get it for all of our parents has just been crazy, and we have all of that, going back and forth and saying, try this, try this, try this.
Olivia Adams is a software developer. She watched her mother-in-law grow frustrated trying to sign up for a vaccine in Massachusetts.
So I thought, is there a way I could put my software skills to use to make that? And so I worked on my website.
Adams says she's trying to fill a void in Massachusetts and provide an easy, clear way to see where vaccines are available.
They just list all of the places that are giving vaccines and a website or contact email or phone number for them. And all of the websites and sign-up experiences are different.
Olivia Adams is on maternity leave. I asked her, why is she the person figuring this out, juggling an infant and a toddler?
Obviously, I shouldn't be the one that's writing this website. It should have been done already.
I asked the White House what the federal government is doing to address these issues.
Why can't there be a better system so it's easier to just sign up and wait for your turn?
We agree with you completely that it is completely confusing, has been around the country in states and localities, but our focus is very much on increasing communication, ensuring, exactly as you said, that the American people know how, when they can get their vaccine, and we fully agree. There's been a lack of communication, confusion, and we are trying to work out of that hole.
Public health experts say more needs to be done to make sure the people who need to get the vaccine first are actually getting it.
Simplifying it. For those folks that can't get to a computer or use a computer to make an appointment, they have another pathway. For those that are homebound, we're able to work with home health agencies to come to your house.
Tiffany Nicole Johnson worries that without assistance, some of her neighbors just won't get their shots.
But it should not be an issue where those who have the know-how get the vaccination and those who don't have the know-how or the supports can't. That's not equitable.
Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Our thanks to Karen Travers for that report. And the Golden Globes went bi-coastal for the first time last night in a mostly virtual show. Amy Poehler and Tina Fey reunited to host the awards show, and they didn't wait long before addressing one of the show's biggest controversies. Here's Lara Spencer.
The Golden Globes live from coast to coast. For the first time in Globes history, taking a place in 2 time zones with hosts Amy Poehler in LA and Tina Fey in New York.
It's going to be smooth sailing. You won't even notice.
It didn't take long for the duo to address one of the biggest controversies this year, that being that of the 87 voting members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which runs the Globe, there are 0 black voters.
I realize HFPA, maybe you guys didn't get the memo because your workplace is the back booth of a French McDonald's, but you got to change that. So here's to changing it.
Yes, and looking forward to that change.
The organization vowing to do better.
We recognize we have our own work to do. Just like in film and television, black representation is vital. We must have black journalists in our organization.
Presenters like 2-time Golden Globe winner Sterling K. Brown taking a dig at the organization from the stage.
It is great to be black at the Golden Globes. Back at the Golden Globes.
Activist Jane Fonda accepting the Cecil B. DeMille Award, calling for change and diversity in Hollywood.
Let's all of us make an effort to expand that tent so that everyone rises and everyone's story has a chance to be seen and heard.
The awards were doled out to stars in their living rooms, but the night wasn't without technical difficulties.
As you can see, we unfortunately have a bad connection.
You're doing me dirty. You're doing me dirty. Am I on? Is this on? Can I talk now? Yeah. What do I just talk automatically?
Are we on? Okay.
The Crown.
The Crown sweeping every category it was nominated for.
The Crown.
The Crown.
The Crown.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Actors Emma Corrin and Josh O'Connor are grabbing gold for their portrayals of Princess Diana and Prince Charles.
So I love you all to bits.
You did have the pleasure of watching Emma, who is so radiant as Princess Diana, and she said such lovely things about you. How did that feel to hear?
Oh man, yeah, she's a great friend, and honestly, I feel like I feel like I couldn't have done anything without her, and we went on this journey together. We're all there, and we're all a family, and it just feels great to be able to celebrate.
Andra Day appearing shocked with her win for the United States versus Billie Holiday.
Sorry, y'all. So, okay. Can you just give me the paper, please? Because I don't want to.
This is a beautiful story of a Black woman, of a person of color, of a queer woman who is being celebrated and honored as the great godmother of civil rights. That for me is, I'm just grateful to God for that, you know.
Director Chloe Xiao, one of 3 women nominated for Best Director this year, taking home the Globe for her film Nomadland, making history as the first Asian woman and just the second female director ever to win in this category. The first, Barbra Streisand for Yentl, happened in 1984.
Thank you, everyone who made it possible for me to do what I love.
Streisand tweeting overnight, "It's about time."
Chadwick Boseman.
But the most moving moment of the evening, Chadwick Boseman's wife emotionally accepting his award for his role in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom just 6 months after his passing.
I'm gonna get me a band and make me some records.
I don't have his words. But we have to take all the moments to celebrate those we love. So thank you, HFPA, for this opportunity to do exactly that. And hun, you keep them coming.
Our thanks to Lara Spencer for that report and to help me break down some of those big moments from the Golden Globes. Let's bring in Sirius XM radio host and ABC News contributor Mike Muse and the undefeated's Kelly Carter. Good morning to you both. Mike, I want to start with you. The hosts, the presenters, winners, even the Hollywood Foreign Press Association themselves criticized the voting organization for having 0 Black members. What did you make of that?
I thought that was so important. I think in moments, so the reason why I love award season so much, and I know a lot of people look at it from this very maybe possibly shallow perspective of the red carpets, the gowns, the hair, the makeup, all the pomp and circumstances, celebrating these Hollywood superstars who have huge egos. But at the end of the day, I look at it as for a platform from advocacy, and a platform where individuals can express their concerns to where for one moment, a large percentage of the population is watching and paying attention. And when these stars take this moment to actually stand up for activism and for things that they care about, it matters and it pays attention. So for the host to double down on that, for Sterling K. Brown to double down on that, for that article to come out before the award show came out, it forced the Hollywood Foreign Press Association to make a statement. They couldn't help but not make a statement. If they would have not made that statement, they would have been extremely tone deaf. But it's not enough for them to make a statement and for an article to come up. The consistent pressure has to stay on them. And that's why I'm glad to see that in spite of them making that statement, the actors didn't let go and they were relentless in making sure to point out the atrocities of no Black voters being in the Hollywood Foreign Press.
And Kelly, that said, many of last night's winners are people of color. How much progress does that show?
I mean, I think it shows a little bit of progress. I think people who aren't necessarily in this Hollywood circle always think of the Globes as a precursor to some of the other award shows, kind of culminating with the Oscars. That's not actually true, but I think that, we're seeing some progression, but the progression has to be seen through a filter and a lens. I mean, I was very excited for Daniel Kaluuya's win, but Daniel Kaluuya and John Boyega, who are both Black men, also happen to be Black British men too. So I think that that's one of the things that this town is paying attention to, that the Hollywood Foreign Press is, of course, nominating and casting their votes for actors who are outside of the U.S. You know what I mean? And I think that we've seen that before, too. We know that this voting body, loves international actors and creators. And so that's part of it, too. But like Mike, I think that I really always look to the Globes as being the first stage where we start seeing some of these political messaging, come from. And to have an award show where both Norman Lear and Jane Fonda are being nominated, the expectation out the gate was going to be, these activism-heavy conversations. And so for them not to have ignored this was very, very smart on their behalf because it was going to come up regardless.
These things usually do. And Kelly, Chloe Zhao made history as the first woman of color to win a Golden Globe for Best Director for her movie Nomadland. How significant do you think that moment was?
Very significant. Very significant. We have to talk about that category had 3 female directors, which was amazing. And it was truly one of the most talked about categories this year. Seeing her make that acceptance speech felt very special. And it did feel like that was also another level of progress that we want to see. If we remember just 2 years ago, Regina King took the stage when she was accepting an award as an actor, calling out this industry and saying specifically what she was going to do and what she was going to demand with regards to who was behind the camera. And gender was such at the top of that list. And that was a very important speech that she made then. And to see this come full circle and have her be in this category nominated as a director, and then to see a female director and female director of color win felt very important.
And the question to both of you now, Mike, I'll start with you. What was your favorite moment of the night?
Ooh, there were so many favorite moments. I love the opening from Tina Fey. I loved Jane Fonda's speech was amazing. But my favorite is when Andra Day won for Billie Holiday. I just have a personal connection to that. Billie Holiday is one of the muses of my work. I've done a TED Talk about that. When she sang that song, Strange Fruit, in Segregated Jazz Club in the early 1900s, that was one of the original protest songs. That was her way of communicating messages to an all-white room. And you're talking about the uncomfortability and being comfortable within that space. Her way of using music was our today's ABC News Live. It was how things got communicated. And then I talk about in my other work, I talk about how Nina Simone was Billie Holiday 2.0. And I had the privilege of interviewing Andra Day about 2+ years ago before I knew she was even cast for this movie. And I said, you are Billie Holiday 3.0. If ever biopic is ever done, you should do it. And for the fact that she won has nothing to do about me calling it, but it just embodies who Andra Day is in this moment and what she means to culture and to music. She's the one to watch for the Oscars because it's not an act for her. She naturally is the spirit and essence of Billie Holiday. So to see that click together yesterday was unreal for me.
And I also loved seeing her reaction and the reaction of everybody else who was in the room with her. You could tell how significant they found that moment to be. Kelly, same question to you. What was your favorite moment of the night?
There were so many great moments. I really wish I could talk at length about Jason's hoodie and accepting that speech. I thought that was great. I also love the mishaps from the Zoom calls because stars, they are just like us. But for me, I think seeing Taylor, Chadwick's widow, make another acceptance speech for some really fine work that he did was so emotional. And I don't think that anyone watching the show at home or any of the talent that we saw in those little boxes via Zoom had a dry eye. She cried through it. She talked about him with such great dignity and really just reminded us not only of the talent we lost, but the talent that we get to celebrate right now. And all it made me think was that I really wish Chadwick were here for this moment and to accept these flowers. But I thought that was probably the most special moment at the show this year.
I think so many were sharing that sentiment with you. And, you talked about not a dry eye in the house. I am not a crier. And even I was reaching for the tissues on that one. What a moment. All right, Mike Muse, Kelly Carter. I know we could talk about this for hours, but I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And tomorrow night, ABC is launching Soul of a Nation, a new primetime series dedicated to telling stories about Black life in America. Like in Evanston, Illinois, now the first American city to fund reparations. Eligible residents will be paid up to $25,000 each to use for housing. Now activists hope Evanston can be a blueprint for other cities. ABC's Byron Pitts has a preview of tomorrow night's special.
I was looking at data. I was looking at what we had done, what more can we do, and reparations was the only answer.
The only answer?
The only answer.
Only answer.
The only, any more of the same was gonna only, at best, help us sustain the oppressed state and the disparity that we have and that we have had for years.
A national reparations policy is a moral, democratic, and economic imperative.
House Resolution 40, named as a nod to 40 acres and a mule, is the latest national step towards reparations. Its supporters including actor and activist Danny Glover.
H.R. 40 was an opportunity to have a commission to study reparations, but also the further context in which we look at slavery and the impact that it had on us.
So you think Evanston could be an example for the nation?
I think if we're able to use that as a platform, maybe other cities might adopt the whole idea of this.
Our thanks to Byron Pitts for that report. And you can see much more on ABC's primetime series Soul of a Nation starting this Tuesday, March 2nd at 10 p.m. And that does it for this ABC News Live update. I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for joining us. And remember, ABC News Live is here for you all day with the latest news, context, and analysis. I'll see you back here at 3 p.m. Eastern with Terry Moran for The Breakdown.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.